It raps like a heart attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful thoughts. In fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had the Hulk. Red Hulk. He snapped Deku's neck. He killed the Incredible Hulk, and all the mutants who were there to witness it, they saw. And Red Hulk, he proclaimed in front of the heroes that not only did he intend to do this, that he sees it as a way to better humanity. If the Hulk exists, there will always be a threat to mankind. That is how he views that. Meanwhile, at the same time, we had deep within Deku's mind. Deku, he was being plagued with nightmares for days, and he's been terrified. Something in his head got knocked loose, and it frightened Deku. He didn't know how to respond to it. In his panic and his fear, he went back to the way he was as a child, and that was not good. Someone offered to help him out of his dream, help him out of his nightmare. And Deku agreed. Just as Professor Xavier and Jean were going to reach into Deku's mind to help him, they were rejected by something. And what happened to them, it was so frightening, it sent both of them into panic. As so were many of the heroes around, including Rogue. As the Red Hulk, he got met by a new challenger. Now, we do currently have walking towards the Red Hulk. He's still holding onto his face as there's a large gash wound. As he does go to throw a punch out at the large monster in front of him. As this beast, it does go to catch Red Hulk's fist before going to bring his hands up. Going to grab at the Red Hulk's throat before going to lift him up into the air. Red Hulk going to try to attack with another punch. However, he does meet this thing's face head on. As whenever he does so, there's no reaction. You must be the one disturbing Izuku. What the hell are you? I am something that has been long since here. I've been here before the others, and right now, you are becoming a problem. You are not something ordinary. You are a cheap invitation as to the boy, and you are frightening him. I will be the one to deal with you now. That being what this thing does say, and Red Hulk, he is terrified. This thing, it can talk, speak in full sentences, and just shrug off a punch. He's never heard of a personality like this. There is nothing in their files about this. And the other X-Men, they are just looking on in shock. However, you do actually have Rogue. Right now, she's laid out on the ground, and she has her hands up to her head, just screaming, and flinging about on the ground. She doesn't know what's going on. She's terrified. She is full of fear. She cannot keep focus at all. And she's just going off the charts. Now, as that is actually happening, everybody, including the Avengers, they're watching on. As, very quickly, this version of Hulk, as they just know him as, he does start to press down and put more pressure down right onto the collarbone of the Red Hulk. Red Hulk actually trying to throw punches over and over again as he actually starts to scream out in pain. As the claws start to dig in more to the flesh, and you do actually have where Thor, he does come up, trying to inform Hulk to let go of him, because he needs to get turned in. This being where the Devil Hulk does look over to Thor, and Thor does see this thing. This thing looks like a giant serpent, given legs and arms. And, well, he's sort of intimidated by it. As Hulk does try to explain to him, he will not do that. This one is a problem. And if he does not agree with that, this being where the Hulk does at least go to throw Red Hulk right into him, he does start to get angry, informing them that he will do what he must to protect the boy. And they all do get ready. Right now, Tony, he's trying to figure things out, trying to understand what to do, and try to make a plan. Meanwhile, you do have Captain America. He does rush in and try to talk him down. This thing is clearly intelligent, so there's reasoning with it. It wasn't going after Thor until he tried to stop him. And this thing, if it is like a Zuko or even the other Hulks, it knows that this one, Thor, must be aggressive. So there's really no backing down talking to him. And he does see it as a strategy, something the Hulk may have never tried before. This being where Cappy does go running into battle, at least a bit more strategically ready. Not so physically. Now, with that being said, we do have back over there, where Deku, he actually is somewhere else. He's no longer trapped in that Hall of Mirrors. Instead, he's walking home. And he actually does somewhat look around, kind of confused for a second. Huh? That's weird. And bringing his hand up to his head. As you do actually have where someone, they do squeeze his hand, and they do go to get his attention. Deku snapping back and looking at this person, as it's Jean? Hey, are you alright? Huh? Yeah, sorry, it's just, I got distracted for a minute. It's alright. You got a lot on your mind. You got your SATs, you got, well, everything. Along with that, if tonight really doesn't go too well, I'm nervous too. Huh? Right. What is going on? This is weird. Deku actually going to look down at his jacket. He doesn't own this thing. Huh? What are you doing, silly? Sorry. I feel confused. I don't remember where I got this jacket from. That was a gift. Oh, right, I love it. That not from me. You said that your parents got you that. Deku looking at Jean a bit more confused. Right, his parents. Both of them starting to walk once again. This is odd. What was the last thing he remembered? Yeah, him and Jean. Him, Jean, Nightcrawler, and Rogue. They all went to the mall. That's what he remembers. They were hanging out. And, well, he kinda did want to get Jean something nice. Granted, he does have money left from his job. Deku trying to think more. That's the only place he can think where he has money from. Deku just continuing to walk. Things aren't really making sense to him. They aren't adding up. He's got everything mixed up. Now, eventually the two of them, they do arrive outside of a house. And Deku, he does look at it. He thinks that he's going to meet Jean's parents. However, whenever he does look over to her, she actually does seem a bit more nervous. As they do go walking through the gate, and Deku, he actually is going to reach out. Him doing so confused as he does open the door. And whenever they do walk inside, Deku, he's looking around. Before his eyes, they do lock on a family photo. And he does look over at it and see. He's not meeting Jean's parents. She's meeting his. As he does gonna let go of her hand and walk over. Going to pick up the family photo and look down at it. It's a photo of back whenever Deku was 4. Him and his father. They're on the ground and they're playing with some toys. Deku's dad and him, they both look happy. Deku, he doesn't understand. He remembers this being taken. His mother said to smile, but there's something else he remembers here. Deku feeling a sharp pain in his cheek, and it does feel irritating. He doesn't understand why. Why does this memory not feel right? As there is whenever a familiar voice Deku hasn't heard in almost 2 decades does come ringing through the house. Now, if anyone's confused about those 2 decades, the 5-year disappearance is added onto that. And Deku, he's around 17 to 18, so 19 years actually, my bad. Close to 2 decades, anyways. Back to the story. Deku, he does follow the voice. As the moment it hit his ears, he felt relief. All this weird feeling he had. The confusion, the paranoia, the, anger. He felt kind of soothed. Even his confusion, his just feeling of everything being out of place, it shifted apart and remade itself. As over the 2 of them, they do walk into the room, Deku does see his father. And he does see his mother. None of this is right. Deku does think. As after at least talking with his mother and father, Jean, she does at least start talking with him as well. He wanted to introduce her. However, he was a little bit more preoccupied with catching up to them. Especially because he was from the next city over. So they weren't even back in town. And this is something that Deku, he does hear himself say. As he does at least excuse himself after introducing Jean, talking about how he's going to use the restroom. And Deku, he did go to do so. As we'll cut back to the real world, where currently Devil Hulk is handing Thor and Red Hulk their asses on 2 silver platters. As we do have where both of them, they are very heavily damaged. And even whenever Colossus tried to throw his hat into the ring, you did have where Devil Hulk did go to do one thing. Colossus comes running in. Devil Hulk going to grab Colossus upwards by his shoulders, pick him up, and smash him into the ground as hard as he could. As Colossus, that was a knockout. And he did go back to these other 2. And it did become clear. Hulk is not fucking around. This is not anything they can take lightly nor defeat. Especially whenever Devil Hulk did decide to do one simple thing. Whenever Thor was calling for Mjolnir, he did go to bring up his hands. And he actually did cause Thor to get heavily intimidated and frightened. As whenever he did go to look back over towards Devil Hulk, he actually stared at those eyes. And he started to hear whispers and paranoia. This being where his greatest fears were manifested in his own mind. Now, he looked back towards Red Hulk. As Thor, he was currently contemplating between whether or not he was worthy of wielding Mjolnir or not. And he was even thinking about Ragnarok. Now, back with Red Hulk. Whenever he actually has tried to blast out fire towards him, he does just do one simple thing. Devil Hulk brings his hands up and counters with his own, waving it aside as he's going to bring, well, the earth up right underneath Red Hulk's feet. Him covering the man's arms and legs, as a large boulder actually just smashed right into the back of Red Hulk's neck. And whenever, well, Devil Hulk went up to him, this was where a lot of people were confused. As Jean and the Professor, they were both flying out of the mansion. And whenever Jean actually had go to raise her voice and say something to Devil Hulk, her right behind him flying in the air, she was scared. She didn't know what to even say, and she was hesitating. She was stumbling over her own words and her thoughts. Her still under the effects of this. As she says, whatever, or she just calls him Hulk. This being one of the thing after reaching his hands out and going to grab onto the Red Hulk's head, it hurt. As it actually is going to turn its body around and look right at her. Ah, Jean, it's you. What the hell are you doing? What are you? If anyone deserves an explanation, I do believe it should be you. How are you talking? You're the Hulk, aren't you? I believe, in a matter of speaking, yes. I am a part of Izuku, and technically Hulk as well. But you're more than that, aren't you? Yes. I am the first. I was the first personality Izuku made. What? The first? But wouldn't that have been Hulk? No. No. Just because he's more prevalent than I am does not mean he was the first. Izuku, I protected him as a boy. I made sure that he was safe. The very day his father decided to try to drive a knife into his stomach and right through his heart, I was there. Jean hearing this, as Devil Hulk, he shows no reaction to his own words. Jean knew that Deku's father murdered his mother, and she assumed if it was right in front of him, the man may have not wanted to leave a witness. Especially because Izuku has been very much against talking about his father. Especially after at least the whole mother thing. Well, that's understandable. Jean did learn a bit about it from Izuku from just talking with him. And she herself doesn't want to admit it to him, but she did look up the case online. Now, Jean, she does just stare at this thing, as she does try to question it more, asking if it's really going to kill him. This one tried to kill Izuku. He's been targeting him. I must do it to protect the boy. You care about Izuku, don't you? I do. I always have. Then why? Let him go. Let the heroes throw him in prison. Do something. Just not kill. Izuku doesn't want people to kill. I understand. However, this man will get out again. And he will try again. These people cannot be negotiated with, Jean Grey. You do understand that, correct? Her at least going to say. She understands, but it's not what Izuku would want. And you do actually have where after this Hulk does at least go to look back towards Red Hulk and go to press down very hard, he does at least knock out the Red Hulk before letting him go, and his body actually does somewhat slump backwards as the Devil Hulk does turn fully to Jean Grey. As he does walk up to her and she does look at this thing. It stands tall. It's so strange to look at. Is Izuku there? Yes, he is. However, I don't suggest waking him. Right now, he's exactly where he wishes he could be. What? I should explain more. However, Jean Grey, Izuku, he needs your help more than ever. I know his emotions. I am informed of some. I understand my creation is a way for him to, well, stay sane, stable. However, he needs friends and family. You are all he does have. He believes everything else is against him. He believes you are the only one he can trust. You and some others. However, tell Charles, I'm going to say a few things. As he does, then go to at least bring his hand up and explain to Jean more things. By the end of it, Jean, she knows all that happened that night. She knows what happened the night Izuku's father snapped. As back that night, whenever Bruce saw his father drive the knife into his mother's heart, something in his mind broke. Something in his psyche formed. Not just in there, physically. Whenever Hisashi Midoriya got up onto his feet with his hands covered in blood and a sharp knife, he went rushing towards his son. Him going to try to throw the boy backwards on the ground. As the moment he did try to drive the knife inside, the knife broke against something hard. And Devil Hulk, he was already starting to grow. The young boy, his feet were firmly planted. And whenever Hisashi looked up, he saw it. The moment he knew was going to happen all Deku's life. The moment he turned into a monster. And after Devil Hulk, he drove Hisashi mad, he went docile, trying to comfort the boy until people arrived. He knew Deku wouldn't have an ordinary life, so he hid. Now, Jean, she's floating there in the air with tears in her eyes, as this thing is going to bring its hand up and go to wipe away one. As he does inform her to look into his mind. As we do have as we do have over with Deku. He's standing back in that bathroom. And he does look in the mirror. He's trying to rinse down his face. And he's just weirded out. Something is telling him this is all wrong. However, he also is trying to understand. This is all perfect. They like each other. His parents, they love Jean. And she loves them. They're getting along perfectly. He's going to get into his dream school. He's, well, got a major going. His life is perfect. And this is something that does confuse Deku. Why does he feel like it's all wrong? It can't be. They've worked so hard, him and Jean. And this is just, well, it's everything he's wished for. However, there is whenever Deku, after at least looking up at the mirror, he does see his eyes look like a serpent's. As this thing, it does lean forwards in his reflection, and Deku, he actually is still standing. Him kind of confused. I am sending you back. What the fuck? The moment this does happen, Deku does snap back into the real world. As he shrunk back down to size, and he was looking around kind of confused, as he does just stare at Jean, looking up at her as her eyes are full of tears and she's still floating. And the X-Men, along with the Avengers, they're all staring at Izuku. As Tony Stark, he thinks that this is all bad. This is, well, it's just, wow. That was new. However, yeah. Tony Stark, he does have to make a few phone calls. And so does Charles. As Red Hulk, he's taken in by S.H.I.E.L.D. to go into a nice prison cell. And, well, everybody's still trying to recover from this. Some people do try to get back to bed. However, for Izuku, things are a bit more complicated. He's sitting down in the kitchen, and he's talking with Charles, Jean, Rogue, Wolverine, and, well, some other people, as they are all talking to Izuku and trying to understand what happened to him. As Deku does talk about how the last thing he remembers is a nightmare. And the moment these words do strike, Rogue actually does somewhat jump in her seat, as she does at least talk about how she remembers feeling that when she copied his power. And at least Professor X, he does confirm he saw some of this, as he does ask Izuku about the new Hulk. New Hulk? Mr. Xavier, what are you talking about? Izuku, you do know what we're talking about, correct? You met him at the funhouse in your dream. What? Deku trying to think, as he does remember the funhouse. He remembers a voice, but that's it. I don't know what you're talking about, Charles. I see. Jean actually going to speak up, as she does tell Charles Xavier that she talked to that thing and it told her a lot. Her turning to Izuku, saying that he needs to know they are all with him. They are not against him. Everyone in this house, everyone at this table, they are his friends, and they will not abandon him. As Deku, he does look right at Jean. She is still somewhat shaken by her experience, and Deku, he can see that. She looks at him, and she seems just, well, not determined, sort of desperate. And Deku, he does try to shake this off. She's still being affected by whatever that thing hit her with. She just needs to calm back down. And Charles, he does at least know what Jean's talking about. He knows that Jean, she requested Charles try to look into it. Try to get it, well, made. Try to get everything set up. And while he was initially against trying to do this, he knows that some contact is good. However, there's a problem with what he's about to do. As we do have one day later, after Deku and everybody, they were able to start getting the house rebuilt. And Deku's stuff, some of it was able to be replaced. Mr. Stark giving Deku a brand new computer with at least a on-the-cloud file of what he had. And while it may not be complete, it's about around 70 or 80%. And Deku is at least a little annoyed, but he's alright with it. And yeah, you do have where today he's been told someone wants to see him. As whenever he does walk down the stairs to the mansion, he does freeze looking at two people he hasn't seen in a while. As he does see Mitsuki Bakugo and Katsuki Bakugo. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.